Hello, Tom Lebecki here with the latest edition of the New Theory podcast. So today we have a very special guest on the show today, and just to give a quick backdrop, we're all home for COVID. It's affecting 80% of the people in the U.S. New Jersey is no exception, so I've been home a lot these days, and I'm here with our 4 rescue cats who I absolutely love. But joking around with Rita, who's one of our guests, that the divorce rate is actually increasing because people are hanging out with their significant others and then realizing they don't like them, which is another discussion. But also, it's, I guess, maybe for me at least, and that's why I have Rita and Linda on today, is, hey, I'm paying more attention to our cats' behavior. And although I love them to death, I get mad at them at times too. So, I want to be a good cat parent. So anyway, with that being said, Rita Reimers is a multi-cat behavioral expert, and Linda is her protege. Rita and Linda, welcome to the New Theory podcast. How are you guys doing today?
Thanks, Tom. How are you?
We're well. Okay, so let's first start with Rita. So you're cat behaviorist. You have 19 rescues.
Yeah.
That goes without saying. So just a little background. You're kind of an animal person. Yeah, why cat over dogs, and the usual kind of setup.
Well, how did I become the crazy cat lady? Well, it was not my life's goal, but ever since I was a child, I've been very partial to kitty cats. I mean, I love all animals. I was raised with a wonderful Labrador Retriever golden mix named Blazer. My dad was allergic to cats, so unfortunately, my first cat we had to give away. As soon as I was an adult and I got married, my first stipulation was to my now ex-husband, we have to have cats. So
yeah.
We did. We had 2 cats, Inga and Dieter. We later got divorced. Long story short, we found a cat crying outside in the rain at one of my workplaces, Precious. She was all of 4 or 5 weeks old, and she started my cat rescue career, shall we say. I never intended to have this many. I had 6 when I was living here in the Carolinas and decided to move out to Los Angeles. Ended up driving back here to the Carolinas 10 years later with 17. That's a story right there. I think it could be a movie of the week. And now I have 19. Some of my other ones have passed. I've acquired others. I started working in the rescue community when I was in Los Angeles. Doing the weekend adoptions every weekend at Petco.
Yeah.
With a rescue that had both dogs and cats, but I was, right there, I was the cat person. Ended up taking home some of the unadoptables or ones that really weren't thriving in the large rescue. Save a Life Rescue at that time had 500 cats. As you can imagine, some got lost in the fold.
Wow.
So long story short, I ended up with quite a collection. I also ended up being the go-to person for people who would come looking to adopt a cat or who adopted a cat from Save a Life and then had questions about the cat's behavior, how to stop it from doing things, how to get it to do certain things.
Yeah.
I've lived with cats over 30 years, and I just have this God-given ability to understand them. I'm not a cat communicator by any means, but I can almost put myself in their little bodies and see the world the way they must view it. And that's an important skill to have, to understand a cat's perspective on your home and your world. What do you think, Linda? You've got 8 cats.
Yeah. Well, the key to Rita, and well, me too. No, I didn't intend to have 8 cats. Rita didn't intend to have 19 cats. The secret to Rita is show her a picture of a cat and tell her it's either going to get euthanized or it's unadoptable, and she will take that cat into her home until her house explodes.
Well, that was going to be my question. This was Rita first, and Linda, you could answer next. Is were you more of a fosterer? And then you're like, oh crap, I got to keep this one, or were you an adopter right on the jump? Hey, next. Like, walk us through that, how that strategy kind of rolled out.
Well, mostly when they cross my doorstep, they're here to stay because, I'll take Rosie, for example. I've had Rosie for, how long now, Linda? About 4 years, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
She had been shuffled in and out of the shelter here in Lancaster, South Carolina. and somebody pulled her out to stop her from being dumped in there a second or third time. And the person did it had 2 young toddler twins and 2 dogs that were just terrorizing poor Rosie.
Oh.
So I didn't want another cat, but something about her little face and the fact that if I didn't take her, she was going to have a miserable life. I went to get her to rehome her, but she was so petrified. She hid in, I have one of those dome Buddha litter boxes I had at the time. She hid in that litter box for 4 days before she would even come out and eat anything. And then she lived in my office in my former home for about a week or so before she'd even let me touch her. And it took quite a while. Now we're very bonded. She loves to hug. She hugs back when I hug her. She goes all over the house. I've since moved to a 2-story house, and it seems like once we moved here, she came even more out of her shell. But Linda saw her when she was still in her state of I'm petrified because I've been terrorized mode. And then she's seen her since. She's blossomed. And there's such a difference, to put her in another home now would just make her revert back. And I don't want to do that to her.
Okay. So the bottom line is, if it's like the Roach Motel, once you get in, you're not getting out.
Yeah,
I love that.
Pretty much.
I know I'm aging myself, but with the.
I love that.
Me too.
Linda, your same jam. Pretty much, somebody comes to you, they're staying.
Yeah. I didn't have any animals in the house, and one of my daughters really needed her cat fix, so she was going to volunteer at a rescue center, but she was under 16, so she needed an adult with her. Yeah, that was stupid. So we come home talking about this cat nonstop. So my husband's fine. Just one cat. So we adopt the cat, and Jackie at Friends of Feline said, they do better in pairs. So we went back and got a second cat, and then we saw her somewhere and a cat had been returned that really said, it's just, and then 2 of them I actually adopted from another state because Rita's house was full and she saw a cat that had FIV and was unadoptable. So she started throwing it down my throat until I adopted this cat. And then I found out he was bonded to another. So it just, I don't know how these happen.
So how does that work? Oh wait, Rita. Oh, I think Rita's packed. She's at like 17. Let me go ahead and take this one. Like what?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, she just kept sending me pictures, and my heart was melting. And people have a lot of misconceptions about FIV, and they're afraid their cats can catch it. But if the cats are vaccinated, they can't. It causes immunity problems, and they'll need a little more help. He's had a couple dental surgeries, and all of his teeth will be gone before too much longer.
All right, so I got a lot to cover. So I'm just gonna ask, and this is a little personal, and feel free to answer how much or little you want to. Right. So like I can speak for myself. I do not come from an animal family. First generation Italian. If anything, you don't have animals in the house. I'm just giving it. Don't throw a litter at me. That's just how I was raised. And then I met my girlfriend, who I'm with now. And she came from a animal family, and we decided to, she had one rescue cat, and then you guys know how it is. We decided to adopt another rescue cat, and then she saw one she loved, and then they were having a 2-for-1, and then of course somebody called her up to round out the 4. So one away from the best both.
Right.
Love it.
So like to not to play like pocket psychologist, if you will. But she grew up with, an animal family. She's used to animals. She grew up, close to her father. So that was kind of her, her connection to her and her family. So that made sense to have them. And then for us as a relationship, to be candid, they made a relationship. Like we joke around and you're gonna think we're nuts, but like we'll go out and we'll see, oh, that reminds me of Sandy, and it's like a waiter who acts a certain way, or like personalities attached to each cat. Then we like identify like in 30 seconds who like a person acts like to one of our 4 cats. So it became like a bonding measure for us to solidify our relationship. So I'm putting myself out there, and like this kind of made us. So I'm thankful to these felines. Give us the background first, sort of, Rita. Why are you such a cat person?
Well, I love dogs, but they are very in your face, high energy.
Yeah.
With cats, they're more of a quiet energy. I mean, my cats do approach me for attention, and they do try to push me off the bed at night, and they want to lay all over me. But it's not quite the same. I mean, they have their own times where they go off and do their own thing. They play together. They're not constantly all over wanting, having to be taken out, having to be walked. And that fits better with my lifestyle and my personality. I'm more of an observer.
Yeah.
Although I do have a few cats that fetch like dogs do. I love to watch their antics, and I learn so much. And I don't have human children, but Linda does. And she's often saying to me, you might not think you're a mom, but you are, because these guys act like kids a lot of times, and she'll hear me saying things to them that she's said to her human children. So I feel like I'm in a house full of perpetual children, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but they keep me laughing. But then again, I can leave the house for a few hours and not worry that they're going to be, pooping on the floor or having to pee or what have you. Like dogs have to go out all the time.
How many litter boxes do you have?
I have 14, and it sounds like you'd see them all over the place, but they're tucked in corners. And then I have a huge house we moved into a little over a year ago. It's for just me, it's 2,400 square feet, but it's this big for them, really. And there's a huge bonus room over the garage upstairs, and that has I think 8 litter boxes in it. So but I have to have some downstairs too, because if you don't have litter on every floor, your cats, especially your geriatric cats that maybe have a hard time going up and down the stairs, they're going to decide they're going wherever they are. Oh. So you really need to offer them on every floor and in various places. Those 8 boxes, where we see it's 8 boxes to a cat, that's 1 litter area. So that's why you need to have more than one place in your house with kitties.
So Linda,
yes.
Why, the why behind it? And I got a lot more. I'm not rushing you guys. I got a lot more questions.
No, I know. I was raised, we always had a dog, and it was a poodle because of my mother's allergies. I wasn't raised around cats. I didn't know about cats. But then my daughter, and her cataholicness, and we end up adopting. And then I realized 2 cats are not, they sleep so much, they're gone. Where are they? I'm used to a dog being in my lap. So that kind of perpetuated number 3 and 4. And they are so fascinating, and they teach you. When Rita was talking about the litter boxes, 2 of them I witnessed. They're pooping right here. I got to put a litter box here. They're telling me they need a litter box here. 2 of the litter boxes, the one in the front entryway and the one in the kitchen, were not intended to be there, but the cat told her they had to be there. She totally understands their language. She's taught me things like the slow blink. When your cat blinks at you, that means I love you. And so you blink back. I know there are so many things. Spending time at Rita's house is fascinating, because she'll say, oh, you see the way his tail is curved? He's curious about you. Or
okay, $1,000 a night to come stay at Rita's house.
I told you should do that. People pay a lot of money for cat cafes. I'm telling you,
I know, right?
Rita's is bliss. She has a guest room, but I like to sleep on the couch because all the cats will lay with me then, and I'm loved all night.
Love it. All right. So you guys are become cat people. I get it. So I'm going to fire off some questions. Whoever wants to kind of answer, just jump in. And then, so first question is, I'm a little on the, I'm frugal, right? Not cheap, definitely cheap. I'm a little frugal. And I don't want to minimize, getting good. Us cat parents, we buy better stuff for our cats than we buy ourselves, right? But for me, like as like a marketer and as a frugal person, I do try to minimize some expenses, because as you know, it gets very expensive. So where do you guys stand on litter? Because at first I was kind of like, hey, litter is litter. Who gives a crap? My girlfriend loves a clump and seal. It's very expensive versus, like the regular litter. So, is litter a thing that, Tom, here's the deal. Litter's litter, you can save some money, or no, this is not an area to be frugal when it comes to your cats?
It depends on what your cat's like. It really has nothing to do with what we like.
That's true.
And To a cat, it's more to do with texture and odor than anything else. Well, of course, we want odor control. But if you're going to offer a cat a really perfumed litter, most of them don't want to use that. And then they have to lick that off their paws and they're eating that perfume. Chunky litter, like crystal litter or like the old-fashioned litter, that tends to be more painful on their paws. So more cats are going to want a more granular, fine textured litter. Do you have to spend twice as much if you can get the same texture from a cheaper litter? No. I mean, if your cat will use it, if they'll use the least expensive of a litter that is the substrate that they prefer, you can save money on that.
Okay, I agree with you in a sense where, I agree with you completely, but where when we change a litter, one got really upset and like started hitting the ball that she does when she's upset.
Yes.
This little circular, thing, and then doesn't talk to us for a half hour. So that was her way of protesting. I don't like this litter. So I get that, right?
Yes.
But like when I look at like different like things, right, in marketing, like I get it. The $5 litter is not as good as a clump and seal, but is there a lot of marketing I have a feeling there's a lot of marketing in the litter market that I can get the clump and seal effect with maybe one that's less expensive, or is this truly a premium? Like my girlfriend I love to death. We're a marketing company. She falls for all marketing traps and branding. Like she will spend, like if it's generic, like I used to work in pharmaceuticals where like a line would be split. An inhaler, $35 on the left line, $7 on the right. Same company, same everything, right? Kind of like the clothing manufacturers as well. So like I don't like to overpay for things like that, right? So I know I'm like belaboring this point, but like is there a little wiggle room on like, hey Tom, you could spend a little less on litter because they're all kind of the same at the higher end. Just go for the lowest higher end, or no, Tom, premium litter is premium litter.
As long as your cats will use it, clean litter is clean litter.
Okay, next question. Okay, this is probably the most important one. So we bought a new house, 3 levels. She likes nice things. So we bought a really nice dining room set.
Sure.
We're getting crushed like everybody else, but we decided to indulge on a nice dining room set. It is what it is. So these chairs are $400 each, right? So we made a judgment call that it was one of our only splurges. Meanwhile, I drive 10 miles to save 10 cents on gas. I'm just giving it a context, right?
Yes.
So we made a judgment call that we were going to make the basement their domain, right? There's a pool table for them to scratch. We got a tree. We even got that little fountain. I mean, the usual accoutrements that we never grew up with, but our cats have, right?
Right.
So she felt bad, right? So we decided to say, hey, why don't you come upstairs a little bit? We started introducing to them outside. They love staring at the deers. But then our one cat really not scratched up bad, but scratched a little bit at one of our expensive chairs. So obviously we disciplined, sent her downstairs, but she did it again. And we're like, crap, I get annoyed. I'm like, hey, we picked a lane. We said nice furniture, therefore cats really shouldn't be up here. And she's like, no, she'll learn over time. You just have to keep it. So but she does it more when we don't pay attention to her. So is your recommendation to keep the cat upstairs and get acclimated but discipline her, or maybe keep her away from it in avoidance for a while? What's your recommendation on a situation like that, either Linda or Rita?
Well, exiling the cat's going to cause other behavior issues. So that's really
not going to hear it for that.
Yeah. That's really not the answer. The goal is to make that table an unappealing place for that cat to scratch. Well, for one, make sure you're offering other things, other scratching options, both vertically and horizontally, because some cats like to scratch vertically and some like the flatter surface. So offer both types. But at the same time, you want to keep that cat away from the table, right?
Yeah.
So there are things you can do, there's certain scents cats don't like. They don't like orange. Yeah. They don't like eucalyptus. Yeah. You could put arrangements or candles on the table that smell like those things.
Got it.
There's also some scat mats you can use, not the kind that shock. I don't like those, but there's kinds that make noise. So the cat jumps up there and there's a noise that startles the cat, he runs away.
Got it. Got it.
Things like that. There's also an air blaster that you put the air blaster can up on the table. When the cat jumps up and breaks the beam of light, then the cat gets shot with a blast of air. I like all those things better than, say, using a squirt bottle, because the squirt bottle has to involve you. You have to be home. You have to see the cat do it. And then plus the cat starts associating you with negative things.
Yeah,
So
good point.
making that area as unappealing as possible while enticing the cats with yes places to scratch, use catnip spray or catnip, or play around the areas you want them to scratch to, make it a positive thing. Breaking the habit is what's going to make the cat stay away from the table.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, Linda, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. One of the ideas Rita gave me, I got a brand new sectional. I was totally feeling you when you were telling the story. I got this brand new sectional. Our old couch and love seat were total crap. I had to go. So I am like, if this cat scratched this, I'm going to lose my mind. So Rita, we got some up and down scratching posts that are like wrapped with rope. And I put 2 of them on the side of the sofa that shows, so that they scratch there, and then slowly moved them away. And if I saw them scratching the couch, I put it back. So this is what you scratched on.
That worked.
Got it. Now, because of what's going on, we're home, and she's letting the cats out every morning. They actually like outside. They walk around the purple. I am super overprotective. So you guys, you might yell at me. You may agree with me. Like she'll like let them out, go have her coffee, go here, go there. I'm like looking at them. I'm making sure, like, I think the deer's going to eat them. Like, I think they're going to run away. But they've been pretty good about it because they stay in the peripheral. They like the air. They like the energy. And then they come back in. So far, it's been okay. But I don't like them going outside. I think they're going to get eaten by, like, something, right? Is that good to let them outside? Or you guys don't know, like, keep them inside?
No!
No, don't put them outside?
No!
She's kind of flip-flopping. Can you tell she's wavering? She's really not sure.
I'm squirming in my chair.
Wait, hold on. So, Linda, you're like, no, don't put them outside.
There's a few reasons why not to let your cats outside. For one thing, bad people. Bad people, they will do nasty things to your cats. Some people are really horrible, and they'll put water out with antifreeze in it or poison.
We're fortunate, Rita. We're like in a cul-de-sac. Now, we're not in the woods, but we're in a cul-de-sac. We're in a cul-de-sac where we're kind of like private, so we're not as worried about interaction.
It doesn't matter. Does everyone on your cul-de-sac love your cats? Probably not. Then what if there's dogs out there that might go after your cat? Not to mention, like you said, disease, fleas and ticks, that kind of thing. Then the other issue really is when your cat starts going outside, his territory is expanded, right? What do cats do to protect their territory? They spray. And it's a misnomer to think that a neutered male won't spray or that females won't spray. They can. And if you let them outside, that kind of awakens their primal instinct and also expands their territory and their desire to protect, right? So you bring them inside and they're like, they know what's out there. They know there's other cats, other animals or whatever. They're going to start spraying in your house. Usually by the door, but maybe other places because they're trying to ward away those predators from outside.
Interesting.
So it causes all kinds of other behavior issues. If you really want your cats to go outside, what I suggest, I happen to know a man here in the Carolinas that owns Perfect Catio. And
we were thinking again a catio.
Yes.
Hedging our bets a little bit.
Those are amazing. That way your cat's safe and can get the fresh air. But really, one thing Rita taught me was cats aren't like dogs that they need this long walk. They just need toys to play with and places to get high and get vertical space. Well, not get high, but you know what I'm saying. But get up. Yes, that too. Anyway.
Get high. Wait, I missed that one.
All right. So you guys are, anyway. I'll put a soft no on it, meaning hard no in general, but it's okay if there's a catio, like or no, yes with a contingency or a soft no. So and you guys gave some good rationale for that. Now I have to ask, and I don't know where you guys are gonna land on this, but Tiger King, I have to, I gotta bring it up.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
We're just discussing this.
Yeah. So I'll start with Linda on this one. Where do you land on Tiger King, Joe Exotic, Doc Antle, Dave Carolyn, Killer Husband? Give us kind of your thoughts.
Yeah. Right. There was There was a lot of back and forth. I mean, some of the things that Carol accused them of, exploiting the cats, she was exploiting I don't know. There was a lot of back and forth. The things that I couldn't stand and I had to stop watching it.
Me too.
It was like there was a place where this mother is in labor and he reaches this thing in and snatches her newborn cub, just born. She's still in labor delivering more. And he's putting them in a playpen so that he can, take them out and show them to the kids. I mean, that kind of stuff was just cruel and horrible. And I had to stop. I cannot stand. I don't know why I can watch people murder on TV, but man, you mess with an animal and I'm just all up in arms.
Okay, I figured that. And then Rita, you said similar sentiment, probably not as big on the documentary.
Yeah. Say that last part again. I'm sorry.
Like I'm considering you have a similar sentiment of you probably weren't crazy about the documentary overall.
Well, the thing about this documentary is it could have been used for a good cause, just to shed the light on, big cat breeding, big cat adoptions, what's really happening with that. It's supposedly illegal now, but it's still happening, and Joe said, of course, he's going at it from the standpoint of propagating the species because, tigers are an endangered species, but he is not doing it from a conservation point of view, breeding them, releasing them, rehabilitating them, releasing them into the wild, repopulating their native where they belong. No, he's unfortunately breeding these cubs for show, and for people to have photo ops. So's Carol, by the way. She says she's not, but she is. They're doing weddings with these baby tigers and all kinds of things. Then when the tigers get to about 6 months old or so, he's got no use for them anymore. He either sells them to a zoo, he sells them to a private collector, or worse yet, he ends up euthanizing them because the only thing that's good to him is the next crop of babies, right?
Yeah.
So this is a whole industry. People don't really know what's happening. People go on these safaris, whether it's Carol's or Joe's or that other guy with the harem of wives. I don't remember his name because he's annoying. I'm sorry. They're not doing the species any good, and it's not about conservation. As far as I know, the only big cat rescue that is legitimate is the one in California that's run by Tippi Hedren.
Yeah. Now you guys are cat people, right? I mean, like we went to. Now, are you guys like Cat Jackson? Is like you guys like him, or is he more like commercial? Where do you sit on the Cat Daddy? I wanted to see what you guys thought of him.
The Jackson Galaxy?
Yeah.
He's awesome. I love Jackson.
Beautiful.
I actually met Jackson about a year before his TV show. When I used to live in LA, Linda and I actually both worked for Richard Simmons for quite a while. Oh, wow. She worked with him more than I did. But I met Jackson at Richard Simmons' studio after a workout. He came running out. Rita, Richard told me what you do, and I never met anyone else who does what I do. We had a nice chat. He gave me his business card. I wish I still had it, but I don't. And then a year later, I see him on TV. What's awesome, though, is LA, for as big a city as it is pretty small. At that time, I was running Just for Cats Pet Sitting Los Angeles, very hot and heavy. I had some clients that had used Jackson for behavior, and I also ended up with some of my clients going to Jackson for behavior, and some of Jackson's behavior clients coming to me for pet sitting and additional behavior help. At that time, casting director, Erica, came to me with a cat behavior problem with her cats because they couldn't use Jackson due to conflict of interest. So ever since I helped her with Bruce and Lulu, they've been sending people to me that maybe didn't qualify to be on the show. So we've had a very nice working relationship. I'm actually right now using the same PR people that launched Jackson's career.
Nice.
And I have an awesome manager who is getting in touch with the literary agent that helped both Jackson and Hannah Shaw publish their books. So we seem to be kind of following in each other's shadows. I have great respect for Jackson and his foundation and everything he does to help the kitties out there.
Love it. And
Linda, did Linda have something to say about that too?
Linda, if you want to jump in.
I was just going to say Jackson's Space Side's been the TV show and the foundation, and he's doing fabulous things, but Rita is really trying to be Well, the reason we both worked for Richard Simmons, I worked for 17 and a half years. And, the reason Richard was so popular is because he was accessible. And that's what Rita wants to be. She wants to be able to reach the masses. There are people that do behavior sessions, and Rita used to do personal ones. It's like $400, and some people can't afford it, or the wives want to do it and their husbands say no. You can kind of get that with you and your girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
And so, which is why she started the clubhouse, and she's trying to be in a different space and accessible to the people to help handle these problems.
I learned a lot from Richard about being open with how I live, because I live with 19 cats. I mean, that's my life. And, open with being able to be accessible, let people contact me directly through the clubhouse and help them personally without the $400 price tag.
Yeah, so let's get, okay, so we want to get into, don't get me wrong, we got the background, we love everything that you're doing, but you're also promoting your business, which is from a good place, which I like. That's why I wanted to have you on. I wanted to, see what to do to try to protect my chairs. But my secondary objective is I really love what you're doing, because don't get me wrong, the cat daddy's great and everything, but a lot of it, how it works. If you want him, he's probably really busy, you can't reach him, and if he does, not knocking him, it's supply and demand. His fees are going to be a little bit more exuberant for somebody like you who's on the come, if you will, and starting to get well known from a PR perspective. So, you're like an early find. So give us kind of what you do, what services you offer now, what books, resources you have. And I want to, have you highlight your business and what you're working on.
Sure. Well, we have Club Catitude at ritareimers.com. That's the membership clubhouse that I've been designing for the past, 7-8 years now, right, Linda? We've gone through many webmasters to get this right. It's $19 a month. And what you get for that is access to myself, Linda, the rest of my staff, Nikki and Sebastian, plus a community of people who are cat lovers. So you can share ideas. At 3 o'clock in the morning, you've got a problem. Oh my gosh, my cat won't shut up. What do I do? You can go out there. You can read this stuff on the message boards. You can probably find somebody who's still awake. You can read, I have all the articles that I've written for Catster magazine, except for this current year, out there in PDF format, so you can download them. I have videos I did exclusively for Catster magazine. They sold the exclusive rights to me. It's the only place you can see the videos. One's about the cat keeping you up at night. The other one's about what to do about cat fights. And then I did a series of 6 videos for Petcha.com, which is actually now owned by Chewy. I did those videos a few years ago. I have those up in there about various things, how to get your cats to play, what kind of litter boxes to use, those kind of things people have exclusive access to. And you can also, there's a place called Ask Rita where you can ask me a question. I'll answer you directly. And we plan to do, we're looking at installing some software so we can do video chats once a week, once every 2 weeks. We haven't decided on the how often we're going to do it. So I can chat with you. I can talk with you kind of like a Facebook Live. I'm live, y'all are in the chat room chatting, asking me questions, and I'll answer you without having to spend $400 on a session. Now, if some of those people want in-person or Skype or phone sessions, I can offer them to them at a lesser rate than the $400. For $400, I was also giving people a write-up about what we spoke about and what they should be trying to do, and I can include those as well. We haven't really talked about that yet. We're just right now trying to get our membership built up more. We have a promotion right now this month where if you join, your first month is $1 during the month of April instead of $19, and that $1 we are donating to Friends of Friends of Feline Rescue Center, FFRC in Defiance, Ohio. Jackie works tirelessly. She turned her home into a rescue, which is, I can't even imagine somebody being so selfless. It's awesome.
It is.
And every month I'm going to do that. Probably during the month of April, there's a rescue here in the Carolinas I like called Saving Southern Kitties. So we'll probably do the same thing. And we'll pick a different rescue every month, and people will get that first month's membership for $1 donation to this rescue.
And especially right now, the rescues are really hurting. I spoke to Jackie from Friends of Felines last week. She's on a skeleton crew. She's had all these volunteers, and people just love being a part of it. But now with the COVID scare, that's all gone. She can't adopt out any cats because she can't have people come in. So she's full. I mean, it's just, they're in some pretty bad straits right now. So we thought, well, we talked about giving people a free month because of COVID, and they have a place to, gather and talk and not charge them. And then we decided, no, let's make it $1 and we'll donate it to a deserving rescue that does good work, because they're in trouble too right now.
They're in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. So, okay, so how is COVID? I mean, it's going to have a cascading effect. Obviously, the economy, then the pet parents, and then obviously onto the kitties. So what do you envision happening? Unfortunately, or fortunately, well, maybe people might get more cats because they're home and maybe want some attention and companionship. But how right now is this shaking out within kind of the cat community, and what are we looking at the next 3 to 6 months?
Well, right now, like Linda mentioned, nobody can adopt new kitties because we have the stay-at-home order, which everybody should be abiding by unless you are an essential personnel. So unfortunately, the cats have not stopped having babies out there. It is spring. It is kitten season. So it's really we're going to have an explosion of feral cats out there, sad to say. I'm really sick about that, and I'm not sure what the solution is. I know some dedicated people are still out there feeding. Whether they're still able to do spay-neuter release, I don't know. I hope they are. But what other thing is, though, people are home more with their cats, and maybe they're noticing the way their cats behave in a way they never did before. I actually just finished up an article that Leader Genie is going to publish on their website about how to interact more with your cats. Because you're sitting there, you're home alone, you're looking at your cat, sleeping on the bed, sitting on its perch. What else do you do with the cat? Well, there's lots of things you can do with your cat to keep it entertained. And a lot of people might not realize cats really do sleep, 16, 18 hours a day, and they are starting to think, oh my gosh, my cat's sleeping all day, it's sick. No, he always does that when you're at work. You just don't see it.
My husband's a banker, and he's able to work from home unless he's got an appointment. And he said to me the other day, Kismet's been sleeping a lot. And I said, honey, Kismet has always slept a lot. It's a cat. But the problem we're finding with COVID-19, Rita just did an excellent video on it and posted it on her site, is a cat in Belgium. They found the COVID-19. The cat got sick, took it to the vet. They found COVID-19 in the cat. People are ditching their animals because they're afraid they can catch this, and they're surrendering them or just pitching them. And the truth of the matter is, the parents got it first, and then the cat got it. And the cat was 17. That might not have been what made the cat sick. I don't know. But there has been no cases where an animal has transmitted to a human. Do not be afraid of your cat. If your cat has COVID and is sick, he got it from you. And if you get your kids sick, you don't toss them out the door. You nurse them till they're better.
Yeah,
stepping off my soapbox now. Sorry.
That was going to be my next point too.
Okay,
I've done a little research about this, and back when we had SARS, they also noticed that cats and ferrets, interestingly, were able to contract the diseases from their humans, but they don't pass it on to us. And it was a very small number of cases. There was also 2 dogs in Hong Kong that they think contracted the COVID-19. They're not sure. It was in the dog's saliva. They really don't know if it was a case where the dog just, licked it, if it really was in the system. One of the dogs did pass away, but it was a 17-year-old Pomeranian. The owner refused autopsy, so we really don't know what killed the dog. Last I heard, the cat was doing fine, and so was the owner. But again, we cannot get the disease from our companion animals. And even after my article, and one of my colleagues also wrote a similar piece, Steve Dale, which unfortunately a lot of people jumped all over him because he was the first to write about it. But he was trying to tell us we don't get it from our animals. People aren't listening. I've heard from some of my rescue friends. People are still pitching out their cats, and it's not right. It's not fair. Right now we're all stuck indoors. Me, for example, my family's 5 minutes away. I haven't seen them in almost 2 weeks.
Okay.
You know, this is all I have right now is my companion kitties, and they're not going anywhere. Yes, Pinky. Did you hear her?
Yes, I heard Pinky.
I had my headphones on, so I didn't hear her. I just saw her open her mouth. She talks to me a lot.
She's
Got
very vocal.
Got
Did
it.
I answer all your questions, Tom? I'm sorry. I tend to get on so does Linda. We both tend to get on a roll and just
No
go.
worries. It happens. So listen, how do we find you?
www.ritareimers.com, and Reimers is Reimers.
Right.
Love it. And what I'll do is I'll include a link as well. We went over time, which is okay because when it comes to cats, I'm willing to spend as much time as we need to. If not, my girlfriend would force me. Just kidding. So
You
with that,
like your girlfriend, Tom.
exactly. With that being said, here's the other question. So she's pregnant, and the first thing was I was like, we can't have cats while you're pregnant, and we're like, that's horseshit because obviously we don't have her change the litter. I'm doing it, or somebody else is doing it.
Ding, ding, ding.
But like, why is there that old wives' tales? You can't be pregnant and have cats.
Well, it's the litter, really. And cats sometimes, not often, carry toxoplasmosis. It's rare. It's usually in kittens. They only shed it when they're babies. So it's only active at that time. They can't really pass it to humans. But, you know, it's if a woman is not wanting to scoop the litter because toxoplasmosis could be dangerous to the baby, there's nothing wrong with having someone else scoop the litter. You can be around your cat. It's a good excuse not to scoop the litter, in my opinion. But you don't need to get rid of your kitties.
I know sometimes the litter smells kind of ammonia-ish, and I can't imagine a pregnant and the dust, and you know,
Right.
we're siding with your girlfriend. You need to scoop the litter, Tom. You do all
There you go. Exactly.
On her side. We actually had a couple of clients in LA that their husbands would scoop the litter, but if they went away on a business trip, they would have us come in every other day and just scoop the litter box for her.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there's not a service with somebody like on the higher end, like doing not just that, cat behavior and acclimation, that kind of stuff. So ladies, listen, this has truly been a pleasure. I'll send the link on. It's going to go up ASAP because I want to get the message out. And thank you guys for being on the New Theory podcast.
Thank you so much, Tom. It was great.
We really appreciate it.
Yes.
We'll talk soon. Be in touch.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.